telling you in case you all have employees who have that kind of hypervigilance, that kind of, processing difficulties and slowed reaction times. This all comes about with TBI. And as we are showing with myself and others, these symptoms of a traumatic brain injury are what we used to call post-traumatic stress disorder in the Vietnam veteran, but that was before we had diffusion tensor imaging and functional MRIs and PET scans and ways of looking in the brain to see the actual abnormalities that are there. These are treatable conditions in young brains, and we need to begin the process of cognitive retraining immediately, not 5 years later or a decade later. We try to identify the persons at risk, and I'm so very lucky to be working with the Ohio National Guard. We have about 2,200 members who have served recently and 1,200 who will recently be coming back from Afghanistan. And we don't need to mention in the Dublin community how terrible this last tour of duty was for our Ohio National Guard. And we will be able to screen them, both as our organization and the Guard, for their traumatic brain injury 90 days after they return. Why is it tough for our guys to get to the VA? And I use guys generically. In my whole time that I was at the VA, I saw about 100. I saw 2 women. They had not seen combat. I saw 98. So it has nothing to do with the gender. It just happens to do with the combat zone. Still has more men than women, although there are women in the combat zone who are not yet being recognized for that. We need to change the flavor. Gasoline is $4 a gallon. If you're unemployed and you lived in Portsmouth and you have a high school education and you've had 5 blast injuries, 5 major concussions, it's really hard for you to get to the VA in time in the middle of a snowstorm, and if you're 20 minutes late, your appointment is canceled, and you are rescheduled for 6 or 8 or 12 weeks later. You're told to have multiple appointments during the course of a week, so how can you hold down a job? You've already asked your employer to go ahead and hold your spot while you've been gone serving your country, but when you come back, you're not there because you're attending your VA appointments. And again, I'm not trying to bash the VA. I have many friends who are there. I'm just trying to say it's time to kind of move up to the customer service realm. And if you're going to be given customer service, who better to give it to than the people who volunteered their lives for your freedoms? The transportation lacks structure. It's just not a system that is working right now. We need to bring health care to them. This is just a little map of Ohio showing the little outboxes are blue and the red are the hospitals, the VA hospitals, and they are a distance from many of our returning heroes.